wanted to say that I feel like it's time to break a spell, which is the way that we go back to being in nature, being natural. And it is not to say that I am promoting natural law, nor is it to say I am only standing on common law. It is about correcting capacity, returning to what we really are to be, which is creators. That is what nature does. Mother Nature creates, as do we. Low on gas, but high on hopes. And so this is where I wanted to create a message that is inspired by my weekly blog on The Artist's Ways, summaries of chapters on recovering the artist within. This week it is on recovering a sense of strength. And one of the chapters is so profound, and I can so relate, because what it talks about is the fact that each creative baby or opportunity that we do not bring to life is the equivalent, from an energetic perspective, of a miscarriage, and the trauma and pain that causes the parents to be. So I wanted to share an experience that happened in 2019 before the insanity that ultimately led me to know who I am and stand as I am. Agent VC, interesting to know that there is no agent in this world. Men in black, those suits, were not the men. Will Smith was the actor playing the character, as was Tom Jones doing the same, and yet in the court we allow men and women to wear suits that make them agents of a crown corporation that ultimately is causing harm, fraud, loss against me, the woman, or you, who would have to stand and try to defend yourself in a court you're not competent within. That is insanity by Einstein's definition of doing the same thing over again, expecting different results, of which I already got locked up under the Mental Health Act, which is the insane asylum of this realm. And I say there's no chance I'm going back, because I'm not insane, which is doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. I'm saying no, we're going to be the ones who wrote a new script, instead of all of these agendas that for so long I tried to make people aware, until I found out that we must dare to actually change our own energetic signature in order for the frequency to change. And instead of sharing information, which was always the dots we thought that we needed to connect, I shifted myself so that then when people felt me in the resonance of what I say, they say, what you say feels true. I don't know why. It's contrary to what others would say. Not all others, but most, because it is the many that are moving false claims and fraudulent actions against others who will not take any blame, because ultimately there is no shame when you're just playing a game, right? Well, except for when the one you're playing a game with is going to pay with their life, as is the one that is wearing the suit of the agent that doesn't realize their own liability, accountability, and responsibility for doing so. So, if that is the case, and I do believe it to be true, we must do what it takes to change our own energetic frequency. Our energetic signature is what we must change when we embody new codes of light frequency, which is what information is. Information is light. And we are the ones who must come into formation as the lights of this world. The stars incarnate, God sparks within physical meat suits that we must treat well, for we only get one to live in as us, for which we are originals. There never has been another us, never will be another just like us. Even cloning, the personalities will be different, because our personality within how we portray ourselves in the moment varies depending on which emotional state that we're in. Would you not agree that when you are at a low space emotionally, you don't have the same capacity as you do when you're excited about life? It's true. Let's stop and actually consider that for a moment, and then say, how could we possibly expect anyone to be exactly like us, even if they may look the same, if we within our own selves have different personalities? Not because we have a multiple personality disorder specifically, though some do, because their emotions run them and they've never learned to control them or to manage them, to actually be in charge of their emotional states, and therefore then their emotions own them, which are energies in motion that previously we suppressed, repressed, denied, tried to pretend don't exist, and then suddenly they go rogue within us and say, damn it, I'm taking the stage because you're not going to let me otherwise, so you're going to go into the back, happy feelings and contentment and being present, and I'm going to take over from a not now moment where none of our power exists. Oh, there's a little squirrel that got hit. That vehicle going opposite moved it by trying to go around it. It still shook the body, because when the light leaves our eyes, the form stays the same. And yet there is a great change, because when the light is no longer in us to share, it cannot guide the way. For we didn't just come here to lead others, we came here to lead ourselves back into wholeness, and our emotions are aspects of that. It is all so much more simple than what we were taught, because that is not how you continue to manipulate and scare people to make things practical and reasonable. We have to be confused in order to lose the game, to lose the plot, and then let someone else take over and say that we have not the capacity to do it for ourselves, and so thus must have someone else act for us. Well, that is not the act I wish to play in. I wish to lead my own life lawfully. I have claimed the right to lawfully self-govern myself as a woman in my private capacity without causing harm to any other, myself included. And I do believe that I can do it better than someone who is paid to look after me in the name of a paycheck that ultimately makes me on the other side of their order, along with many others who are under their charge and command, because the ones who didn't know how to claim the lands that they govern, are meant to, which is the common ground of the common law, which is the unwritten and unlimited law that we can all draw from, until we see that withdrawn, tilted, withdrawn is what can be done with the charge. If one says, no, Pathfinder changes route in that moment, yeah. 222 I go by now, and then I say I'm gonna sing somehow, and I will carry myself home, but not alone. It may feel that way when blazing a new way for all to follow if they choose to. I must make a way for all of us by doing it for myself. It's true that no one else can do for me what I can do for myself, and the same is true for you, because we must stop putting our power in others. It was the pattern I had before I learned that others cannot govern or wield my power better than I can for myself, and I do believe my fellow men women too. I don't claim to know the best way to do it all, but I say I care enough to say that I'm a woman and so are you. Or maybe you're a man instead, and if you are, well, let that be said. You're not dead, your person is. That's the incorporated aspect of you. I shouldn't say the aspect, because Hugh is an aspect of you, and I, Hugh man, is an aspect of the man or woman who forgot they were the queen and king of their own domain. That is how we can be free and enjoy freedom in the kingdom, the dominion of us. We are the ones who came to rule ourselves lawfully and not righteously specifically. But dare I say, I'm gonna give myself some new light and do what I came to. Why does it be like that? Because technology is good until it isn't. Don't you see how we have been deceived to believe that someone other than us could lead us better than we could ourselves? So actually, on that note, back in 2019, I went through a devastating loss of my own accord, or account, I should say, because the magic of the moment was so profound, and I was in such an expanded state that I thought others would appreciate where I had come to in my view of what we commonly have access to. 555? Ooh, yeah. That means change is in front, ahead. And so all of that is why I'm gonna say it's been nearly 13 minutes of you listening to this version of my story and song that were meant to share what rewrote me and was truly like a miscarriage for my soul's creativity when I lost an opportunity because of mental health reasons, as proclaimed by me, the creator who became reactive and lost my ability to create for a time. And I went offline for a while, and I came back and regrouped, but I had a profound loss under my belt from that experience that I had not dealt with until I did. And it took time, and then I went through everything I did, not just only 6 months later, that just, whoa, that was a lot to unpack. I will say that is so. And so, what I want to do is actually make a video about the opportunity that I lost and how it impacted me and how it relates to the artist's way and recovery of strength. For that is the theme of this week, and that experience was one of those crosses along the path for me that I now see the gift in, when at the time it just only destroyed me egoically, and also on other levels too, but was beautiful in the scheme of things because it's led me here, and I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for all that I went through on the way here. So it's all good, and I'm gonna tell that story in a different video where hopefully the lighting is better. And if it's not, then forgive me and forgive yourself as well, because forgiveness is a tool that we do not just give others because it is nice for them to be let off the hook, which is not the case at all. It is simply to say that we are letting ourselves off the hook, and ideally in that moment was the corporation on the brand on the truck that was going opposite me in that moment. Ideally, at least this idea, if you please. Decide what it means to and for you, and then leave the rest. And know that I'll not be offended, because truly, your life is yours to lead. And you can draw from the BS of all those who offer it, bleeding it out at times as if it is gospel. Well, you can go spell your own life by writing that which would be nice for you. 888 passed in that moment. Yes, at last, the universe supports what is being shared. It always does. And then it goes shady in that moment. What's the deal? What's the deal? We need to heal, except if we focus on healing all the time, we can't get over that, because we wouldn't have something to connect with after if we healed, and then we were always used to connecting based on our healing and our wounds. Well, then what would the victim be left with if we healed it all? So we must then stay in the healing. So hey, why not decide what we could be instead of that, and then just see how we are moving into the healed version of us, and we can release the wounds, because those don't need to be the way that we connect anymore if we choose. Consider it and forgive yourself for not knowing better. We do the best we can until we know better, and when we know better, we can do better. Oh, it's true. Thank you. Leave a comment, like and share if you dare, and if you don't, that's okay too. I say to you, have a great one. That's all for now. I've got to the gas station somehow.